So,
Good.
you good? Okay, excellent. All right. So, hi everybody. So, as Shane kind of talked about, this is about quality of life. So, we're really looking for where's the opportunity to create better quality of life with CloudSuite distribution. Sometimes things are enhancement requests and they're not getting enough votes, or they're way in the future, or just something that you need done and you can't wait for it. And that's fine. Some people are like, well, Infor is going to do it. I'm like, that's great, but we can do it now. You don't have to wait for it. And so a lot of these are things that customers have brought to us, but we've also started to build out things that our group of people say, hey, this is something that we see all the time. So it would be a good idea that we put them in there. As Shane said, these are the top 10 that we have on CD Marketplace, but he also told you we have 26 in the catalog. So it continues to grow, and I'm just going to hit as many as I can today. So thanks for giving me your time. Put things in the Q&A, and we'll answer them down the road. So the first one is more than just an enhancement or an extension. So we have a number of customers in the rental business. Some of them are in the serialized rental business, some of them in the non-serialized rental business. And so they really needed a solution that allowed them to rent, that was really embedded in CloudSuite distribution. So we built out an entire application called CD Rental. And so it looks just like CSD. You can't tell the difference. It looks like order entry. The difference is in most cases, you're going to be renting product, but you also might be, because it's rental stock, you might be selling the used product after you've rented it for some time, or you might do a new sale at the same time that you're doing a rental. That will create a contract that will create perpetual billings with the customer, and then eventually they will return some or all the stock. In a serialized return, that's pretty simple. They took one and they return one. It's the same one. In a non-serialized environment, they take 20 of something and they return 20. It may or may not be the 20 you gave them in the first place, but doesn't really matter. We're just giving them credit for it. We might inspect it. There's a whole bunch of things involved here, and this is a demo in and of itself. And so this is gaining a lot of momentum. We're really excited about this module of CloudSuite distribution. The next one is CD Search. This is by far the most popular thing in our catalog in the marketplace, which is the search. The search in CSD is different than it was in GUI, and some people are struggling with how it presents results. And so it just gives you one more way to find product, because at the end of the day, you might have people standing at the counter, or you just have your people are frustrated and they can't find what they're looking for. So CD search is all about a starts with search rather than a relevant search. The current search that you see in CSD is a relevant search. It's based on the relevance of the data that you give it and the results it's going to provide you. This is going to be in both the inventory inquiries, in the item setup, order entry, PO entry, WT entry, customer pricing inquiry, and the product lookup in the faceted search. So if I go over to CSD and I open up, let's do order entry here. Love the MRU thing. And go into my line item. So relevance, this is the normal Infor delivered solution. So if I type 1-, and you will see I get a list of products here, none of which start with 1-, all of which have 1- in the description. Now, these are all warehouse products, because you can see that that's just something I did in the standard product, was I changed how the results gave me, but it could be catalog products, and it could be substitutes, and it could be all kinds of other stuff. But if I go down to the starts with search and I type 1-, now everything you notice is all tied to the part number. Now, big difference. Relevant search is going to look in the product file. It's going to look in the catalog. It's going to look in the cross-reference file. It's going to look in all those tables. This is only looking in ICSP, ICSW, right? It's going to start with there, and then it's going to show you all those results. So it's starting with 1-, And the other thing that we did here was we didn't limit it to just 10 results. It will go, I believe the last I heard was 250 results. So this is a huge benefit. As I say, it's within a number of the places that we see. If I pick a part over here in the starts with search, it immediately fills down into the relevant search. So it's not like, oh, hey, we're going to break something or we're just adding on to what's already there. If Infor changes something, we'll try to be conscious of that and always, be on top of it. The modal search is down here, so you see, I have relevant search versus the starts with search, so we can shift over to the starts with search in CSD. So this just gives you another way to find products in your catalog and to turn people around as quickly as possible. The next thing is CD Ship. Now, CD Ship is about shipping small packages. We have a number of customers in the business who sometimes they're just shipping packages like UPS or FedEx, and or they have a truck fleet, and their truck fleet is delivering on a normal basis, but they ship 100 orders a week. 100 orders a week is a lot. So we needed to create some way to interface this product. It is an interface. It is a bridge between UPS WorldShip and FedEx Ship Manager. We are not a manifesting system. You can look at things like Starship, there's ShipStation, there's a bunch of different integrations, but this is all about an integration to WorldShip and FedEx Ship Manager. We are not creating a manifesting system. We're just facilitating it. So this CD Ship gets installed on your shipping station, can handle both UPS and FedEx, sales orders and transfers. And the latest new feature that we just added this year in coordination with one of our customers was TWL. So we have a number of customers who use TWL and they wanted to be able to still ship small packages and not have, a big price tag. It's a small entry level type thing that works really well. And so now you can do TWL, which means you're shipping cartons rather than shipping orders. So that's that's the next one on my list. The next one is our CD report pack. So we have a number of people today on this call even that are using Focus. And one of the things that we wanted to do was create a way for people to adopt Focus faster. So we started building out a report pack. There's about 45 reports in that report pack because there was a bunch of content that just wasn't delivered out of the box by Focus. And sometimes you just have to kind of take the bull by its horns and just start building stuff out. So as Kevin and the Edge team kind of looked at it and they started building out, what they thought were good reports in that report pack to start from. So there is a link to that. Shane, is that active for external users? I don't know. Sorry. Okay, I'll skip by it. I'll answer it, I guess, at the end. Okay, transfers. So anybody who has multiple locations in CSD, the challenge is how do I get that information so I can source to another warehouse because I might not have all the stock that the customer wants. How quickly can I turn that customer around and get them off the phone? So when I'm going into CSD and I pick a product, I'm out of stock here, what do I have to do? I have to go to the sourcing tab, and then I have to go to the warehouse transfer tab, and now I finally can see what inventory I have in my other warehouses. And that's a number of steps to find out one way or the other. But if instead with this enhancement, right down here below the screen, you see the CD transfer sourcing screen. So now I can choose, it shows you both net available and surplus, and I can say, hey, I'm going to take it out of Dallas. And if I want it direct shipped, I just check the box that says direct ship and I source the line and then I drop it, right? That's how easy it is for me to create that warehouse transfer, in this case, warehouse transfer direct line. So that just saved a bunch of steps and made the process a whole lot faster and efficient for your users. Moving right along, show math. So, one of the struggles that some people have with the system is the intricacy and the details behind the buying system. Not that the buying system isn't very powerful and has a lot of tools in it, but it's what is the information? How did it come up with this? You're telling me to buy 10 of these. Why did you tell me to buy 10 of these? Why is the line point this value? Why is the order point this value? And so really that was a struggle that we were trying to solve here with show math. So if I go in and I pick a product off in ICSW, this is in the setup, so you can access it right from the demand center, right? You can open this up. I can see that I have on my ordering tab a new button called show math. So what does it tell me when I get there? Okay. First of all, I've got the base information, the product number, the warehouse that I'm looking at, the unit cost. Is it frozen? What's the K cost and the R cost? Now that comes from either the warehouse or the product line. So it really depends on if you've set it up at the product line, it's going to show you that. If you only set it up at the warehouse, it's going to show you that. What's the review cycle days of this item? Is it using ROQ? What product line? What buyer? When was it acquired? When was the last time you merged? This is all detailed information about the product. Now we move into usage. What's the average usage rate? What calculation method are you using for the quantity by EOQ? How many usage months and what method are you using? In this case, 3 months backwards. The order quantity is 29, and it says order quantity calculation is line point minus PNA. What's PNA? Purchase not available is on hand minus reserve minus committed minus back order. So it tells you the calculation that goes into that value, so you can figure out how'd you come up with 29. Then it goes on to order point. Okay, what's the average lead time? What's the raw order point, the regular order point? What's the calculation for order point? How did you come up with that value? And then part of that is safety allowance. Okay, well, what's the value for safety allowance? It's 7. Well, how did you do that? Well, the safety quantity is safety days times the user rate divided by 28. So these are all calculations that you may or may not know, but it's good information for your buyers to know. What's the raw order point line point? How do we calculate line point? Right? So it gives me the formula in here, and then the critical order point, what's the formula for that as well? So it's all the values that go into the results that you're seeing in the demand center, and then you can know whether that decision makes sense or what you need to really tweak to make the results better for you rather than just throwing up your hands as a buyer and saying, "Oh, I don't get what it's doing, so I'm just going to do this manually," right? So that's what we want to do is we want to drive the buyer to know the information so that they can trust it and they can tweak it accordingly. Moving on, I'm going to go back here to order entry, and we're going to talk about the updatable grid because one of the things that people struggle with is the ability to mass update orders in order entry because they want to make number of changes, and the system is not. I mean, it works, but could it be better? So that's kind of what we're looking for in this mass update. So if I go in to this particular order, it has 7 lines on it. If I go to now, if I wanted to change this line, what would I do under normal circumstances without this marketplace change? I would pick that line. I would change the quantity to a quantity of 3. I would change the price to, $14, whatever it may be that I want to change, and hit update. And then I would do the next line. Instead, what I do here is I go into edit lines. Now, you could do that today. You could go into the grid and then I select the line, I update it and hit update. It takes me back to the grid and I do it one at a time. Instead, what we did was we opened up some columns here on the grid, quantity order, price, and then product cost and margin. Those are the 4 columns that we currently have open in this grid. And so what does that mean? That means that I now can say, hey, I want 5 of those. And it takes a second while it updates and it goes through the change request. Oh, and I want 7 of that. and I'm going to change the price to $12.50. Or I could change the margin and have it reflect into the price. So those are the 4 fields today that you can change. We've been asked about some other ones that we're looking at. The one that I know I can't change is the product, but I'm looking at, if people are requesting, we will certainly look at being able to add more. But the great thing about having a grid is I could turn on the filter and I could say, hey, show me all the lines with one particular product. And so now I can say 2, 8, 3, to change the lines with that particular product on it, right? So just a way to mass update the data that's on that order for me. All right, displaying the screen acronyms. So we talk about the acronyms all the time. Yeah, people are like, we don't know the acronyms because either we didn't come from GUI or we just don't think in that terms, and that's fine. And the screens will tell you without the acronyms, right? They'll say order entry just like they do if I go into a company that's not got my enhancement in it. It just says order entry, right? But we had a number of people who said, hey, we really want to know what the acronym is that you're calling to get to that screen. So we added it to the bar up here. The first one, that first version we had, it was the name of the screen dash the acronym. We offered an option now that it can come before, as you see here. So either way, so we're now seeing both. We're now seeing both the screen name and the acronym as well. So that's just a nice enhancement. Been very popular for a lot of people. Dunning letters. So customers really, collections is a big part of your business, right? You need to make sure your customers are paying and they're paying in a reasonable amount of time. So certainly we could send out statements and we print an aging and we call them, but we want a way to alert them to the fact that they're outside of their terms, and we want to give them the chance to get back in line. So to get the Dunning letters, the first thing we do is under the customers, under statements, no, sorry, uh, default. There's a new box here called Dunning. There's up to 3 letters. And those letters are all delivered into IDM. So you have the ability, if you have the ability to change forms, you can change them. If you need us to change them, we will change them. What's the minimum amount that you will send out? What's the minimum open balance that you will send out on a Dunning letter? So $100 right now. And do you want to include credits in the letter? Okay. So those are all new AO options if we install the Dunning change. The next thing is to go into the customer setup. Now, the best thing about this change was there's a box here called Dunning. That's been in my understanding since like Trend 5. So it's been out there a long time, but it didn't do anything. So now we activated that. You now check that if you actually want to send them a Dunning letter. And then on the ecom tab under statements, the statement address, if it's email, will be how they get the Dunning letter. If it's anything but email, they will get it, but they will print and it will be snail mail. And then you'll run a process, which is ZARRDL. And it's a scheduled report, so you can schedule it whenever you want. It can be run for ranges of customers, customer type, cycle code, and then you can say, hey, I want to send Dunning letter 1, 2, or 3, or all, and I can just run it to a report, so I know, I can generate a report of what's going to go out there, or I can generate them all as actual Dunning letters. And just as an example, this is Dunning letter number 3. And so this customer is way behind, and it says your account is seriously overdue. And so it not only prints the text that you want in there, again, this is coming out of IDM, but then a list of all the invoices that are open on their account, just like any Dunning letter should be produced for. And so you could produce one Dunning letter for just that one customer, or you can produce all of them on a schedule basis and get them sent out so you can start, um, pinging your customer in an automated fashion. All right. Restrict the sales rep access. So this was one that funny enough, we had a couple of customers who out of the blue approached us and said, separately, not together, separately approached us and said, "Hey, this is something that we really need to do. We want to give our sales rep access to the system, but as you know, when you give somebody access, they grab the keys to the kingdom. Not that they get to the general ledger, but if they can see customers, they can see all customers. They can see all items. They can so this is all about customers. So what this does is it restricts customer inquiry, pricing inquiry, order entry, setup, ship to setup, pricing setup, reports and other screens you have to do just SASO functions, but there's a new SASO setting that says, hey, restrict this sales rep to only their customers, right? So they can only work with their own customers. So here I am, I'm logged in as DZ01. And if I go in to ARSC here and I look for customers, I see customer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? They're all there. If I go over and I log in this case to DMC, who's a different user and is a sales rep who has been restricted, and that person goes into the same company and pulls up ARSC and they do a search, they're only seeing 2, 5, 103, 500 because they only see their customers. And that is based on the sales rep out. So they're designated in their SASO setup as a sales rep and that they only see the customers that they're related to. Same thing happens when I get into order entry. They can enter customer 1, but it says, hey, you can't use customer 1 because that is not one, it doesn't, for them, it doesn't exist. They don't even know that it is one of the customers that's out there because we restrict them from knowing that. And so that is that enhancement. That's a fairly new part of the catalog. So just wanted you to know about that. Enhanced manual acknowledgement. So a number of customers get acknowledgments from their vendors. And I was just looking for, oh, if you get an acknowledgement in EDI, that's no problem because it updates the system. You don't have to do anything as an individual. But if you're getting an acknowledgement where now you have to manage it manually, there's a number of screens that you have to go to. You have to go into PO entry and you have to maintain it and go to the header and go to the lines, and then you can mark it as acknowledged. Whereas now what we do is we give you a screen where you can go and you can say, hey, on that screen that I mark it acknowledged, I can drill into the lines and see all the lines, set the dates in there, set the quantities that they've been acknowledged, and then update it. So it saves me going back and forth and all over the system to find the data that I'm looking for. The browser tab Kono. So we have a couple of customers that have a number of companies that they deal with. So the struggle is, hey, what company am I working in? So you'll see right at the top here, this is my Chrome browser, and I know it works in Chrome, and I know it works in Edge. I've not had anybody using it in Safari yet, but if you know that it works in Safari, that's great. And, or you want us to test it, I'm glad to do that as well. But you'll see at the top of the screen here, instead of just saying CSD, it says SX Kono 143, SX Kono 1, so I know what company I'm in when I'm switching back and forth between the different environments. And that's pretty handy for, making sure that I'm in the right place. The AP add-ons posting process. So there was an enhancement a while ago to improve the AP process, AP expenses, and AP trade, but they forgot about add-ons. So a lot of times what happens is you get a third party add-on invoice that you want to post into AP, and it's a number of steps that you have to go through to make that happen. So if I go in here into AP and I go into APECE here, and let's look at let me look at that group, and we'll put in a new invoice, and we'll just say this is for roadway because this is an add-on vendor. So we'll say RS 0529. We're not going to post it anyways. We'll say it's for today. We'll hit save. Now, what would normally happen here, because I want to spread the $90 across multiple POs, I would go to this PO add-on screen, and I would put in a PO, and then I would add it, and then I would go to another screen and I would change the amount, and then I would save it, and then I would go to a different screen that said POs, and I would enter all the POs, 1, 10, 100 POs again. So it was quite arduous to do that. So what we did here was we added a new button that says add-ons by vendor. So at this point, I can enter the vendor or vendors. So at this point, I enter Louisiana Pacific. It shows me anything that's in receive or costed stage. So I'm looking for specifically, let's start with these two POs, 737 and 738. So we'll click list add-ons, shows me the two, and I'm going to say $30 for each of those because I want to add up to that $90 that I'm trying to match. And I'll save those and click save and new because I'm going to enter a different vendor, or in this case, I'm going to enter the same vendor because I picked that vendor already. And I'll pick this one, the 736 one, and I'll put in $30. And I'll now save that. And so now I'm fully matched. But as I said, under the old method, I would have to go here to the purchase order screen and manually enter these POs again. It's already done for me. So it's saving me hundreds of keystrokes in some cases. The one customer that we helped do this for, it was a lot. It was tremendous amount of work as they were matching third-party freight bills. So saved them a tremendous amount of time. So if you're doing that kind of thing, you're matching it, you're applying those third-party freight bills, this can save you hundreds of hours of working. I'll just point this out. So the check rec option in GLAT. So when you enter a GLAT record and it's for the cash account, you have to remember to enter the data on the check reconciliation below. Because if you don't, then you have to manually go to check rec and enter that data. So we added this as an enhancement, so it automatically, whenever you use the cash account, it automatically puts the check reconciliation data in the bottom of the screen in automatically, so you don't have to remember. So if you forget, it won't get missed. The positive pay. We have a lot of people doing positive pay. We were doing this over and over again, and finally we decided, hey, we're just going to put this in our catalog. So if you're sending ACH checks to your bank, every bank is literally different. They use the nacho, which I've now coined that it's not your bank, which means you have to format it for your bank accordingly. Whereas for the positive pay, it is consistent from every bank. So what happens is when we install this into place, when the check goes out and you've turned on positive pay, then we generate this file. It's a CSV, and it has in there the bank account number, the check number, the check amount, the payment date, the void flag, and the payee name. So those are all fields that are required in positive pay, and so we just generate it as part of the system rather than having to do a mod every time. It's just part of our catalog. All right, the automated promise date. So a number of customers I've had this issue going for some time, and so I finally added this to our extensions. Um, so we have a number of distributors who run their own trucks, and we don't deliver every day. And so when you enter an order, by default, all the dates are set as today, but I'm not delivering to this customer today based on the date that I'm delivering it. That's what I really want to set the promise date to, and I can't expect my users to remember to do that. So what we did was here in the customer and the ship to, we added these dates. So now I can say the shipping dates for this customer are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You just check the box. So this customer gets delivered on Tuesday and Friday, right? So that's their normal delivery. So now when I go into order entry and I enter that customer, the promise date defaults to tomorrow because that's their next delivery date rather than today, which is not the date they're going to deliver. I don't want their pick ticket to print today. I don't want, from a back order standpoint, I don't necessarily want to commit their stock today. Whatever we're talking about, I'm I'm following that based on when I'm going to deliver to them next. So again, that just gives you a way to drive that promise date for you. I will skip over one here. Multiple GL accounts for expenses. So if you have an expense vendor, you know that in AP there is only one GL account. And if you're in a company that requires that amount to be spread over multiple GL accounts, you now have to set that up every time. You can put it in Excel now and you can import it from Excel. What we did instead was we created a way in APSV to actually define multiple accounts and define a percentage. So if you said, okay, I'm going to do 50, 20, 20, 30. Then if I put in $100, it's going to say $50, $20, $30, right? It's going to automatically do the spread and to one GL account as normal or to 100 GL accounts. This is something that I thought was, needed to be added to the system, and so it's one that I pushed out there, and so it's out and available in our catalog. Skip over a couple of these things. Go to quick customer add. So quick customer add, this is we have a number of customers that need to create customers on the fly. Somebody's walking in, they're asking to buy something from you, and we want to set them as a customer rather than putting them in a cash account. And so we created a new way to do that. So here what we did was first of all in ARSC, you set up a customer called the Quick Create template, and you fill in whatever information. Most importantly, you got to fill in what their sales rep is because it can't be saved otherwise, right? It's going to be automatically a house account. Maybe you fill in some other things like I'm going to lock their credit down or whatever the case may be. That's that basic information that you want on every customer. Now that can then drive, you know, some process if you want to, but here when I get into order entry, I see that I have this new plus button. And the plus button is quick customer add. So now I can say, hey, this is DZ customer 5, and I'm going to put in Grand River. So the information that I have available to me, I'm going to fill in at this point. If I have the country, if I have the phone number, then you say okay, and that customer now exists. And that customer is now in customer inquiries. So if I put in DZ, you should be able to find because I keep adding that. There's DZ customer 5 and it has our address in it. And guess what? It's a house account and it's got customer pickup because that was all in that template, right? So we've already defined the template. All we're doing is we're asking them that question right there in order entry to speed the fact of we need to get a customer set up so that we can process that order, maybe take their credit card so we can return it against their credit card later on. So those are things that, that quick customer add facilitates our ability to do. Close tabs. So, hey, we get working in CSD and we open up a bunch of tabs and we're ready to go home, or we just want to start over again. So this is a quick way to do it. You just hit Control Q and it closes everything you have open. Unless you have an order entry session started, you have a PO entry session, cash receipts. If there's a transaction going on, it's going to stop and go immediately to that screen and say, hey, I can't close anything until you resolve that issue. So as you see, it closes everything on the screen to the search bar, which is fine because that's what you wanted to do. We just wanted to quickly close all the tabs on the screen. All right, cancel the tied WT. So when a user cancels an OE line that's tied to a WT line, you get a toaster message, and the toaster message says, please update the warehouse transfer that's tied, right? You need to go in and manually cancel it. This enhancement actually goes out and cancels the WT automatically. So you don't have to do that. Now, wait, it cancels the WT line because there could be multiple lines on it. But if that's the only line left open on the WT, then it will cancel the WT altogether. So it's either the one line only or the one line and then the whole WT gets canceled. We are working on this for PO. It was something that got brought up at TUG, and I'm working on this for PO as well. We're not there yet. It's coming. All right, so I'm going to skip down to something that's in development. So we have a number of customers that are due production. They do value add, they do kit production in their business. And so one of the things that has been lacking in our minds from the product is a way to schedule your resources in the shop. So what we're doing is we're building a schedule. It's a full-on calendar with a drag and drop tool. So what you can do is you can bring in your value add and your kits in the same view, and then you can drag them into one or different technicians, move them from one day to the next, and then that is where we are, building the calendar right now and building that schedule. Then we will have subsequent phases where we'll do some other stuff like time entry and such. But you can see it's currently in design and development. We're working on a beta for late fall and working on a beta candidate right now. And then I hope that by TUG of next year, we'll have customers live and running this tool, and really the plan for the full general release for everybody by that point. You can set up as many technicians as you want within the CD schedule, and then you can schedule them so that they can get the work done that they need to get done. All right, so the way that all these extensions are priced is they're priced as um, a fixed price for the extension itself, and then we charge you T&M to install it. And it's just a matter of, have we been in your environment? What other extensions do we have to merge? So we just try to, we don't know what that is going in. If you're not managed by us, which I think everybody here is, then I would say contact your channel partner and have them call us and work with us on getting it for you. Otherwise, please contact myself, contact Shane, submit a support request. Anything that's in the marketplace, that's in the extensions, is all pretty quick that we can turn a proposal around to you because we have them pretty buttoned up already. So Shane, that is everything I had today. Is there any Q&A?